Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Hard Truth Podcast. My name is Zach, and I'm along with my co-host Janet. Say hi, Janet.
Hey, everybody.
So this is our fourth installment of the podcast, and we are as excited or more excited now than we were when we first started this. And excuse me, I know for Janet and I, this is something we look forward to releasing because everybody asks about it. When's the next episode? When's the next episode? We were supposed to do one last weekend, and due to technical and time frames, we just decided, hey, we're going to push it out, and we'll give you two this week. So even with Janet and I's hectic schedules, we are making time to give everybody out there what they want to hear. So today's episode, Janet, and thoughts, we are going to be coming from why crews in construction don't speak up. What do you think about that?
I think there are quite a few reasons why they don't speak up. Fear, if they're new, especially the newer guys, the younger kids that are coming into this, they don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah. So
So they just choose to stay quiet.
yeah, so that demographic, actually, if you look at the numbers, and we pull a lot of analytics from our shows and episodes, and we look at those age groups, right? So 18 to 24 is our least listened to audience. We would love to have more listen to this because it will help them grow and develop. But you're right, 18 to 24 is that age group this is focused on. Like you said,
Hmm.
they are so worried that there's going to be some kind of repercussions. There's going to be labeled a problem, and they don't want that going into that career. And I think that's kind of a, double edged sword. Let's be real. There's some guys out there that it's eat or be eaten kind of world. We don't like that. I know it.
Hmm.
Um, but it is fact. And should it be that way? No. That's difficult to work with. They're labeled a complainer.
Yes,
How many times have you heard that one?
I've heard that. Whiner.
Whiner. They're labeled someone slowing down production.
Yes.
And they don't want that, right? They're young. They're young.
Hmm.
Let's say a young guy, not a girl. We'll say a young guy or lady. I don't want to disrespect anybody. When they come into here, they think they got something to prove.
Yes.
And speaking from being that age at one point, man, you absolutely were told going into this world, man, don't say nothing.
Yes.
Just do what you're told. That's how you get ahead. Do what you're told. Shut up. Do what you're told. And now being in this for many, many years, like yourself, that's absolutely not the case. I was so arrogant, and I think that plays a part into it as well. As many of
Yes.
them that don't want to see that, it is.
Hmm.
From our aspect of teaching, you take the age group of that window, 18 to 24, and then you take somebody that's in my age group, which is 35 to 45. You are getting way different results,
Hmm.
right? Where we're so
Yes.
stupid that we've been doing it for so long that we will say something and we're still not right. I mean, let's
Yep.
be real. We're still not right. We still have
Yes.
lessons learned. We don't think we do, but
We learn every day.
we learn every day, right? So the older you get, the more you develop in that phase, and the more you kind of work out of it. But we're trying to make that initial contact with that group and even older individuals that's in this world, in this construction world, that they too can fall into this trap. You've got a lot of people that have never been into this that you see come into this, and it's, well, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done this before. That's great. No problem. We love to have you, right? So they're more open. I think the older they are that come in new to it than the younger generation.
Yeah. Some of them. I think it's a widespread. We've got on the site that I'm at, we've got several younger helpers, and it's about probably 50-50 on who's willing to learn versus who's not. And then we also, it goes back to leadership of who are we putting them with? Are we putting them with someone who's willing to teach?
Well, that's
And are we putting them with someone who is going to speak up?
that's
Because that sets the stage for it.
I agree. Leadership is massive when it comes to solving this issue with, speaking up, things like that on the job
Hmm.
site. If you've got a leader that, you take leader A, he's
Hmm.
very in your face. This is old school. This is the way we do it. It's got to be done. We're behind. I don't care about this or that. Just get the job done. Nobody's around. Don't worry about it. You know, then you've got supervisor B who's over here going, yep, I know we're behind, but Russian's really not going to get us ahead. I
Hmm.
need you to focus on number one, know what you're looking at, know how to look at it, stay in focus, be safe. Number one, be safe. And if you have questions, ask the question. I don't hear that enough.
Hmm.
I really don't.
I think I've probably heard it more the past 4 or 5 months, which I've paid attention to it a lot. and I listen a lot more at how the leaders are dealing with the employees in the field and how they communicate. And I've heard it more than I thought I would. And I do hear a lot of people saying, hey, if you don't know, ask. And I also hear, hey, we're going to put this person with this person because that person's going to teach them.
No, that's great. And if that trend is happening on your side, that's phenomenal.
It is. And I mean, it's not perfect. Don't get me wrong. We got a long way to go.
Yeah.
We do still have some rushing, but it's, I don't know. I don't even know how to say it. It's more acceptable rushing. Yes, we're in a hurry to get finished. We're on a time crunch. The time crunch is not of our doing, so that helps us a little bit, gives us a little bit of leeway. But we're still on a time crunch. But even when we're rushing, when they're trying to hurry up and get something completed so they can, be off Sunday or whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
they're doing it safely.
I mean, that's good. You know, you talk about production pressure, right? You mentioned hurry. And I know with your particular job site and several job sites that when you're on that big of a project, it's go, go, go as soon as the boots hit the ground.
Yes.
And everybody wants success. I
Mhm.
fully believe everybody wants success, especially with the group that's down there because we both know them. And that is awesome to have that focus. And you have really good people. I just think when it comes to putting everybody down there that's in charge of something is very experienced,
Mhm.
right? They've dealt with the bad side, the good side, the great, the ugly, the down, the up, all of
Mhm.
that. It's so easy to fall into that mundane trap of I know what I got to do, I know what's expected,
Mhm.
let's get after it.
Yeah.
And you avoid or you kind of overlook that guy that doesn't know,
Yes.
and kind of intimidated. Let's be real. You get
Mhm.
intimidated, and we know the ones I'm talking about. You get really intimidated as a new pair of boots on a job site, standing in front of these guys that are responsible for you, but you also have a responsibility to yourself to get the job done. And
Mhm.
you've told them what? Well, take a step back. You've told them one or two things. Yeah, I know what I'm doing, which is the arrogance, right?
Yes.
You really probably don't know, but you don't want to say anything because he's intimidated you. And
Yes.
and with your team or any of them that we know, they don't they're not like that at all. They can act all they want. They're not. They love to teach. They love for you to develop. They want you to be successful. The thing is though, if you don't come with that to them, hey, I need to know. I don't know. Then they're under the assumption that
That
you
you do.
know. So now they're going to hold your feet to the fire because you didn't speak up,
Yes.
and that can be a double-edged sword not only for the supervisor or the PM or yourself.
Mhm.
Man, you told him that you knew. Obviously you don't. So which one is it? See, now you got to
Exactly.
backtrack. Now you really are watching this guy because he has shown you that he doesn't. And I think that is so important when you get people in. They do not need to be intimidated. They need to speak up. They need to say, hey, look, I'm grateful that you want me to come and do this, but I need you to understand I haven't done it that much.
Mhm.
I've only been shown it once or twice, and it's been a while. So let me get my feet back with it, and then I can be, like, okay, I got it. I'm picked it back up.
Yes.
I think that's a path that they need to travel down to get that understanding. And I will say this, that needs to come from that new hire. That needs to come from that guy that's coming onto the
Yes.
team. Your
And
supervisor,
they need to understand that.
yeah, your supervisor can't read your mind. He only listens to what you told him.
Exactly.
So if you're not willing to say something, then you are just flying by the seat of your pants and you hope it's
Yes.
our supervisors are not like that. They're great to talk with, and you can absolutely tell them, "I don't know. Why aren't you willing to do that?" That's
It
the
goes
hang
back
up
to
with
that.
me, and that falls into production pressure, which is
Yes.
on the list of you get production pressure from construction schedules and tight and delays. I'm sorry, tight and delays are expensive. Crews who feel pressure from supervision, project deadlines, and other trades waiting on them. Right. So how many times have
Yes.
we seen that?
Yes.
You
That's
can't get it.
constant.
Yeah, y'all dealt with it. You can't get in there. Well, why can't I get in there? Now they're back at the office trailer and they're sitting on their hands.
Mhm.
Well, what are you guys doing? Oh, we can't get in there. Electrical or civil or something. Well, we had the day. We're supposed to be on that job. Well, I'm telling you, we can't get in there.
This isn't done, so we can't do this part.
Yeah, we can't get in there. And that you got to speak up. That
Yes.
probably. And I'm not here. I'm not going to be an advocate of who's right and who's wrong. I'm just telling
Mhm.
you the facts. A lot of times when you're working with another sub, you don't hear these things. They ain't communicating. They ain't saying nothing. They probably knew you were supposed to have that job site tomorrow, and they never said, "Hey, we're not done.
Mhm.
Can you give us X amount of hours in the morning, work on something else, and then once we clear, you can come in." That doesn't happen.
Mhm. The planning's not there.
Man, if you could have that, think of how much that changes the culture.
Yes.
Oh, good lord.
Good communication would change so much, and it goes back to speaking up. So it's not just the employees in the field. It's those of us in the office. It's everybody as a group, the client, the subcontractors, the contractors working beside you, around you. That communication is key to a successful job. And when you don't have it, you have problems.
So that kind of falls into the hierarchy on job sites. You know,
Mhm.
construction sites traditionally have a strong chain of command that starts at the project manager level, goes to
Mhm.
superintendent, it goes to foreman, and then it goes to crew member.
Mhm.
Many workers, okay, feel that it is not their place to challenge decisions made by someone higher up. And
Mhm.
that leads to thoughts like the foreman must know something I don't. It's not my call. Oh my gosh, if I hear that one more time.
Mhm.
What do you mean it's not your call? When it comes to what we do, it's everybody's call.
Mhm.
I don't care if it's the owner of our company. I don't care if it's the owner of somebody else's company.
Mhm.
You don't do that ethically. Like,
And they need to understand that the project manager, for instance, is looking at the entire job, this
exactly.
whole big picture. So they might not see the little bitty detail down there at your level that you're going to see before they see it,
Yeah.
where this isn't going to work. And because you didn't say anything, then okay, we go ahead and we put that in. Whatever that piece of pipe or that piece of equipment, whatever that may be, we put it in. And then we get to the next level and it's all wrong, and then we have to redo it. And then we know what happens with rework. Incidents go up with rework.
Well, you get the frustration factor too.
Yes.
I've never seen some superintendent walk in and say, "Man, we got to rework that. The drawings are wrong. They didn't print the new drawings." Now the hard hats are being thrown. Now
Mhm.
the words are have changed from a very friendly Disney version to Roadhouse in a sense,
Mhm.
and now it's push. Now you got to dismantle. Now you got to redo it all. You probably ain't got the right product.
Mhm.
So now safety is absolutely not the first thing on the list. The mindset's gone. Everybody's ticked off. Everybody's rushing. The new guy, he ain't saying nothing.
No.
He ain't gonna say a word.
No, he's too scared to say
You
anything.
better believe he is.
Not necessarily scared, but intimidated.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
need this job.
I gotta have this job. I'm gonna shut up and do what my boss tells me to do. And that's great, fine, and
Exactly.
wonderful. I'm not saying buck him,
Mhm.
but I'm not putting myself in a situation where he's now being rushed, and I understand that. I'm not gonna risk my life and limb or let somebody else do the same thing or himself, because now he's pushing himself beyond that point of what I would call, lack of a better term, control, because all he sees now is we are behind.
Mhm.
That falls on his numbers, right?
Yes.
So he's out
And
there.
it doesn't matter whose fault it is.
No, it don't matter whose fault it is. Now he's doing things that's normally out of his line of sight. Like he's got full blinders on
Mhm.
because all he can see is the light at the end of the tunnel, and he knows he's got to get back to it. Well, he's not seeing what's on his peripheral vision side,
Mhm.
which can lead to what? An accident,
Mistakes.
mistakes, damage of equipment if you're moving equipment. Right now,
Mhm.
now you just thought you were behind.
Yeah. When
That's
you have to stop for an incident or an accident,
yeah, it's over.
then you really fall behind because we were discussing this today, how much we hate the paperwork that comes with them. But that's part of it.
Look, we're safety professionals, and I'll tell you right now because this is our show. I hate the paperwork.
Yep.
I absolutely hate it. And y'all, this is my boss I'm talking with, by the way, but we are not on the clock, so I can say what I want.
Uh-huh.
But she knows there are no secrets. I can't stand doing incident paperwork. Not the fact that I don't want to find the root cause or anything like that. Y'all, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
We did you not do it last year when we were still together in the office? You did the math on the cost
Yes.
of like just me and you working on it, and then
Mhm.
not coordinators or anything, but me and you working on it, plus the time that you type a supervisor, you type a PM, you type an ops
Yes.
manager. And do you remember about what, based off that salary area, what it was? I mean, I know it's
Oh God.
approximate, but it was even higher than I thought. It was stupid.
I mean, you figure if you have an incident and you have to do the full investigation, you're looking at about 10 hours of work for every person involved.
Yeah,
And it's typically you and I, a project manager, an ops manager, the employee, any witnesses, sometimes my boss, sometimes the ops manager's boss. It just depends on how extensive the incident is. You're looking at some money, like thousands of dollars, just to investigate an incident and determine a root cause. That just determines the root cause. That does not include implementing corrective actions and what that costs. That does not include training your replacement. That does not include all the other overhead costs that the indirect cost of an incident. That doesn't include all of that.
Yeah, and that's just we need to find out that number approximation just to give somebody out there they can go, wow,
Yeah,
that really is. I never thought about it that way, but man, that does cost money. Yeah, it
it is
costs a
very
lot.
expensive.
Not as much as you think, but it hits up there.
Mhm.
You talk about complacency from experience.
Mhm.
Experienced workers often rely on years of job site and success. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, of habit and success, not job site. This can create a mindset of nothing has happened before, which is your hated terms.
Yes.
I've done this 1,000 times.
Mm,
Wow, we could do a whole segment on that.
yes.
I just why?
And I have had people tell me after incidents occur, I've done it like this a thousand times and nothing happened. And I look at them and say, but it did this time.
Yeah, like I was
So
talking.
you're telling me you knew better a thousand times.
You knew better 1,000 times. So the last time I know for us we had an incident, with the broke rib.
Mhm.
How many times have you had this happen? You get to site, right? It's great. They've said something. You get to site. Okay, he's in pain, whatever. You get him in the car. They know exactly what happened, why it happened, before you even get out of the gate. Well, if you know that, then that
Mhm.
tells me you could have prevented it because they give you the whole thing.
Mhm.
I mean, like it ain't nothing. It's drop of a hat. They've already told you what happened, how it happened, how they can prevent it in the future. You've not even made it to any kind of medical. You've nothing, and they've
The
already told you.
whole RCA is done. You know the root cause. You know what you have to implement to prevent it from reoccurring. But it still happened.
And the whole time they're going, I've done that 1,000 times. Man, I knew better. And just for reference, the guy that hurt his rib was pulling a tape measure,
One of the simplest tasks you can do.
pulling a tape measure. And this is a
Mhm.
very experienced, well-known guy in the field that is great at his job. He is one of the best at the job. He is one of the safest individuals on a job site. And this still happened to him. We're talking about this with that group. Complacency goes into every topic, but that 18 to 24 or whatever, it
Yes.
can happen to even experienced guys.
Mhm.
That is the whole thing, and that's where complacency from experience comes from.
Yes.
You don't never hear the phone ring for him.
No.
You remember my conversation with you on the phone when this happened?
Uh-huh.
You said, "Really?"
Yeah.
I said the
I
same.
actually was speechless for a few
Yeah,
minutes.
I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they call and do a fake incident. They do not do that. But they'll call and kind of mess with you a little bit and say, "Oh yeah, he just did this," and you're like, "Yeah, okay, whatever. Hang up the phone, go
Yeah.
to work." And it was not the case.
Mhm.
He really did. I was like, "Wow, I'm glad I really come to sight because this is a real deal." And it's one of them things. We know him and I personally.
Mhm.
We've been working together for years. The whole car ride from there to the physician was dead silent because he knows I'm thinking about it and I know he's thinking about it.
Mhm.
He's not thinking about, well, I wonder what, my boss is going to say. No, he's thinking, how in the world did I allow this to happen to me? And the results. We're not bringing up company.
Mhm.
Him and another supervisor got together on this and they figured out the five whys because they both felt responsible
Yes.
and they do not want it to happen to their people.
Mhm.
And that was one thing they talked about the next couple of days over on their job site was, guys, how do we prevent this? I mean, it
Mhm.
can happen to us. They're the most experienced on the job. That was their whole demeanor about the job site from there on was, y'all got to think about this before we even go over there and pick up a tool.
Mhm.
All we had to do was move X away or
Yes.
out just a little bit. It changes the whole perspective of the job site. And
And
that
most
can
of the
happen.
time with most incidents, that's what it is. It's
It's
it's one small thing that's missed that ends up biting us.
Yeah, that falls into what's labeled here as lack of psychological safety. And you're
Yes.
thinking, what in the world is that? Zach's using big words. I have them on a Rolodex, people. For you young kids that don't know what a Rolodex is, that's well, never mind.
Mhm.
Psychological safety means workers feel comfortable sharing concerns without fear of embarrassment or punishment. That's another thing.
Mhm.
Nitpicking on job site, which I'm all for. Do not think I am not for it. I am the world's worst to pick back and let you pick at me. 100%. Let's
Mhm.
do it. If it makes your day easier and it makes you more focused on what you need to do to be safe, I'm all game.
Mhm.
I actually prefer it. But that's a great point. In job sites where workers have been yelled at, dismissed, ignored,
Yes.
that's really big because you do see it. But if you're young, I'm sorry. If you are young, and when I
Mhm.
say young, I'm talking entry level, 18 to 24.
Mhm.
You cannot come in there and claim you have experience. These
No.
guys have got tools in their boxes older than you.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
A lot of them do,
It's just facts.
and probably tools they shouldn't be using, but they're
Tools they
using them
shouldn't be, handmade tools.
until we come around.
Yeah. If you feel dismissed, you you kind of have to say something.
Yes.
Don't be intimidated to say, "Hey, look, I know I'm young, but I'm looking at this because I haven't never seen it. Is this okay?" He may actually have something. How many times have you wanted somebody new to come onto a job and do
Mhm.
a walk down with somebody,
Yeah.
right?
It goes back to the mentoring program.
That's exactly what it is, right? What is your big speech? Always
Train your replacement.
train your
Yes, because anything can happen. What we use is if I win the lottery tomorrow, you're going to get a text message that says bye bye.
bye bye, and that is absolutely the truth, and I believe it 100%. If we could just get him to play it.
Mhm. Yeah, he's got to play it first.
I'm so in trouble now.
It's like today, we had we were on the phone and you get a Teams call. I get Teams in on it.
Yeah, thank God.
And it's, thank you, Zach, for all your help. And I'm like, see, I've trained him well. If he doesn't know it, he knows where to go to get the information.
Kind of freaked me out.
I have trained my replacement.
You don't like it when a VP's coming in on your teams when you see him on the screen, and it's not even your VP, but it's still a VP, and you're like, crap, I have to answer this.
Uh-huh.
And your boss is on the phone. That was great. I'm like, wow,
It worked out perfect, though.
I
We
did
got
not
the
know
answers
I
they
was going to
needed
get
and
fired
moved
this
on.
way. This is how you do it. But that was a genius move.
Yeah,
But being yelled at. Look, if you're in construction, you better grow a thick set of
it's
skin.
gonna happen.
I'm sorry, it's gonna happen. I've I've been yelled at in the office. We're not going to get into that, but I've been yelled at in the office because I was having a bad day, and I straight up told one of the best employees something I shouldn't have said. Yeah, it. Mm-hmm. I made it right though, right?
Mhm.
You've got to have that mentality. If you're wrong, man up and say you're wrong, and
Yes.
make it right. I will say that
Mhm.
you're not going to be right every time, and we do lose our tempers and we do pop off. But the difference is when you recognize it and then you can go over there and make it right. I think that really does help the morale. I think that helps the relationships that these supervisors have with workers, even at a position of power. If you go
Mhm.
to a worker and you're real testy with them, we'll say, and you really didn't have no need to do that,
Mhm.
okay? And you can go back, you've thought about it, you've regrouped, and if you can go back to that worker, pull him to the side. Don't do it in front of everybody. Pull him to the side and say, "Look, man, look, I was wrong to yell at you like that." You don't have to give a further explanation. You can just simply say,
Mhm.
"Look, I was wrong. I'm man enough to come admit it." I mean, think about how far that goes.
It's a respect thing. I mean,
Massive. And I think a lot of
we've
it's missing.
worked really hard to earn the respect of our people, and one wrong move can lose it
That's
if
true.
it's not corrected.
We talked about that lack of psychological safety. One of the
Mhm.
key notes on this was when I pulled up some notes was they quickly learn that speaking up doesn't change anything, so they stop trying. That's a hard pill to swallow. That's a hard pill to
And that's
swallow.
why when people come to us and tell us whatever their complaint may be, we may not can change that. It may not be in our wheelhouse to fix whatever that problem is,
Yeah.
but we will escalate it to the person that can.
And see, I think a lot of times that's why they do come talk to us
It is.
because they know we're going to run it down. We may not be able to get a result. I will
Yes.
say that on the air. I will say that we may not be able to change anything, but we feel that it is our responsibility to get that information up where it needs to go.
Yes. And then
Sometimes,
follow back.
yeah,
Let them know.
follow up, right? That was one thing you taught me
Yes.
was always follow up. If you're going to say you're going to do something, you better do it
Mhm.
because you
You can't
cannot
lose that
let
trust.
that you cannot lose that. Once you lose it, it's gone.
Mhm.
And it's very difficult to get it back. And that's what we used to train coordinators on.
Mhm.
Don't go out here and try to do that if you are not willing to do it.
Yeah. And it's okay to say I don't know.
100%. I say it every
Follow
day.
it with but let me look into that for you.
Yeah. And what was the best reference I've heard from you and Chief was always reference back to the company documents. Read it verbatim. if the document's wrong, then that's a document problem. If you say something and it doesn't align with company values or interest, well, then that's on you, right? So you've given them a false sense of security. You've also
Mhm.
given them false information
Mhm.
because you just rambled off something that you were unsure about. Don't do that. I can't tell you the number of times, and it's so hard because you want to give them an answer
Mhm.
because you're about 90% sure you're right, but there's always that 10% chance you're wrong. So I go, well, you could do, you know what? I'm not sure.
Mhm.
Let me make sure 100%, and then I will let you know.
Mhm.
And then most of the time, what I've got to do is I'll not only tell them, I'll send it to them.
Yeah.
This is what it says right here. If you go
Mhm.
by that guideline, then you've got it. And that has helped tremendously.
Mhm.
I mean, it's great to tell them, but if you can actually send it to them, and I know a lot of things you can't send, but if you can read it verbatim and be able to pull it, then that's fantastic.
Mhm.
What was something else on here? Crew members don't want to let their coworkers down. I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
huge, especially with that younger demographic.
Yes.
They really don't. And I will say this for some of the, and nobody take disrespect to this. Of course, if you're listening to this, you're probably in construction, so you've heard this 1,000 times. But the old heads don't want to let the younger generation down.
Mhm.
I will say that.
They
Several of
do.
them.
They want to train them.
They don't want to tell them the wrong thing
Yes.
because that's a reflection on their teaching and their knowledge
Mhm.
being passed on because they're not going to do it forever. This is almost like um, in the trades. If you're not aware, it is a. I hate to say this, but it's called the hard truth for a reason. It's a dying breed. We don't know where we're going to be at in 10 years. We've already seen it change in 10 years.
Mhm.
So they really want to pass on all that knowledge that they've gathered over their years of their career, and they want you to take it, and then they want to be able to see it when they retire or walk away from it because they physically can't do it anymore or whatever.
Mhm.
They want to be able to drive down the road and go, you know what? I taught that guy running that job. He did a fantastic job. Look at that. They want to be. They take pride. There's a lot of pride in construction.
But there is.
Oh my gosh, these guys put up just simple. I say simple. It looks simple. It's not simple at all. Any of it. But you see a steel structure put up. I know for us, we look at it and go, man, that does look good. How in the world did they do that?
I do that with a lot of things
Right?
that these guys do. I just
It blows your mind,
it does.
and it's I don't know how they. Okay, that's great. I don't know, but
And I can go out to the job site in the morning and then go back out in the afternoon and it's already changed and so much more has been done and I'm like, wow.
yeah,
Like how did that happen?
and you talk
But they're
about
skilled tradesmen.
that's exactly it. They may worry about holding the crew up. They may worry about creating extra work, being
Mhm.
seen as overly cautious, and that's okay. I don't know. I might be wrong, but I don't know a construction supervisor or an experienced hand that sees a new guy and doesn't expect cautious approach.
No.
It takes. Not everybody will say, "Yeah, I'll go up in that lift." Till you go up in that
Mhm.
lift,
Yes.
and then you get up in that lift and you 35 feet above the ground,
Mhm.
and it's got a natural sway to it,
Yes.
and then they freeze out. Thank goodness you've got an experienced hand in that basket with you. But what if you went up by yourself?
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Like they know the cautious side of what you're going
Yes.
to do. Sometimes the strongest pressure comes from fellow workers, not management.
Huh? It does.
You're in management. You can speak on that.
I mean, we as managers and we do put pressure on our people to, we all have our deadlines that we have to meet. But when you get out there in the field, the pressure that they get from their peers, the people that they work side by side with on a daily basis, is completely different. A lot of the times they don't even feel the pressure from management because there's so many layers of leadership between them, between like the project manager and the man on the ground doing the work. There's so many layers of management and leadership in between them that you try not to let that trickle down to that person.
Yeah,
But they don't really see, they do get pressure from the managers because it comes from the project manager to the superintendent to the GF to the foreman to the lead man to the employee, but it's different levels of pressure.
yeah.
And it's not, I don't know, it's not as strong as it could be. If they got it directly from management, they would probably be like, "Whoa, I'm done."
You talked about. I know when I come on board with you, I come from industrial, just like you did into construction.
Mhm.
That was 4 years ago, but I come in and I had zero confidence
Mhm.
in anything. And
Yes.
that's not even my personality. If you know me, my personality, I have a strong personality. I love to talk to people. I love to teach. I love for them to grow. I love to see.
No.
But when I started, it was I asked her for everything. Can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do? And she just turned to me one day and said, "Make the call. That's what you're hired to do. Make the decision.
Right, wrong, or indifferent.
Right,
I
wrong,
got
or
your back.
indifferent. Make the call. If
Just
it's
like
wrong,
I was trained.
yeah. If it's wrong, we can correct it. But you make the call." Chief always says, "You are in charge until you give it up."
Exactly.
And for years, I never understood what that meant. I comprehended it, but I never understood some of the sayings that he gives.
Hmm.
But for us, when he teaches us, he says stuff like that to make you think about it. He wants you to make your own understanding of it. And until I moved into, I don't even know what the role is now, but I really don't even know what I do anymore. But I work for Janet. That's about what I tell everybody. But no, when you're tasked with something like always training your replacement,
Hmm.
you don't know when that's going to happen. You do not know when that role is going to be put in your lap,
Hmm.
and you have to be prepared the best you can. And I will say, we're not throwing any laundry out there, but we've had that experience to where
Yes.
it was out of both of our hands and it was given to me. Okay,
Hmm.
here you go. First time, I was scared to death, really scared to death. I did not want to make the wrong decision because I always had you there to help me make those decisions.
Hmm.
Well, when your manager's out of the picture for a minute, everybody's looking at you,
Yes.
right?
Everything changes.
Everything changes. So I'm now forced to make decisions not only on my task, but some of the tasks that you had to handle normally on a day to day basis that I was not prepared for. And I
Hmm.
took advantage of it, or yeah, because you've always done it. So I was really naive in it. So I had to grow very quickly.
Yes.
And I don't want to say kind of in a management role because you were out, but or was
But you were.
yeah, and this situation is a little different because yes, you are on site. You're away taking care of that job site, but you're still, you're actively the manager. I can call, I can do whatever I need to do.
This was planned. We prepared for it
Yes, we
to
absolutely
the best of our ability.
correct. But in a way, it kind of helped because do I really call for, hey, how do I do this? Hey, what do you want me to do? No, and that's great because you're focused on the job.
Hmm.
And that's the way it needs to be. Now,
Yes.
people, I will tell you right now, I am very quick to text her. I am very quick to call her. What do you want
Hmm.
me to do? Because she can still make those calls. She's
Yes.
actively, she's still the boss, so she can make that decision. But
Hmm.
she still challenges me to this day, make the decision. I'll support you. If you're wrong, we'll handle it. And it's still very, very difficult sometimes when you get out there and you're faced with a situation. It's like, okay, you know what to do, but what would she do? You can't do
Hmm.
that. You have to be confident in yourself and your knowledge to go, all right, this is what we're going to do, and be strong with it and accept it. You've made that decision. Now execute it. If it's wrong,
Hmm.
it is what it is. They're going to know.
We'll deal with it at that point.
We will deal with it at that point. Fortunately, I've had a great mentor, so it's been great for me and it's real easy. But when I started, oh my, that you could have asked her 4 years ago, would Zach be in the where he's at right now? What would you have said?
Well, I'm going to back up on that one because when I started in this role, I was the same way. My mentor, my boss, he's taught me to be the leader that I am. He trained me to replace him, still is training me to replace him, and taught me how to train you to replace me. So I was the exact same way when I fell into this role and when I started with construction. I was very I had zero confidence.
Very
I did
passive.
not believe that I could do what I could do. And so I saw a lot of myself in you, and that's also a double-edged sword. For all of those out there listening, if you ever want to know what it's like to train yourself, just step into my shoes. It's phenomenal. We're so much alike, but we're so much different at the same time. But I see a lot of myself in you. So that helped me to get you where you needed to be.
Yeah.
But did I see you getting here at first? Probably not, but it didn't take me long as we started working together more. I did see those abilities in you.
Well, I appreciate that.
And that's what led me to pull all of that out of you and demand confidence.
Yeah, she was like, "Let go, just let go, do you. Be yourself.
Yes.
Quit trying to be somebody else. Be yourself. Do it. You know what
And it's
to do."
been great.
Yeah.
But you were also the same thing we're talking about here, the fear of stepping up, the fear of speaking up and saying what needed to be said for fear you were wrong. You don't have that fear now.
No, no, you can ask anybody. I'm sure we'll get comments on this one.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, he'll say something. He's a jerk. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no problem with
Only
expressing that.
when it's justified.
Yeah, he will when it's justified. They all know.
Yes. Yes.
You know, moving forward, here's another key factor. Someone else will say something. No, what if you are that someone?
Yes.
You know, this is known as the bystander effect. I looked at this. It's known as the bystander effect. Think about it like this. Think about it being at a pool. Right? You're at a pool with your family. Coast Guard, yes, their job is to make sure that nobody's drowning, or if somebody is in danger, that they respond. Well,
Mhm.
you're standing there, you're observant. Okay, the not Coast Guard, the lifeguard is dealing with somebody else. Well, they don't
Mhm.
see that. Are you going to stand there? Or are you going to be proactive with it?
Exactly.
Well, we are instructors in first aid,
Mhm.
CPR, AED. We're going to react.
Mhm. Yes.
I'm not letting anybody. I mean, if I can help it, I'm going to do everything that I can.
Mhm.
I'm not waiting on somebody to show up. And I would hope somebody would do that for me or mine. 100%. Not going to happen.
Yes.
Um, the foreman already knows. That was one of the statements. Someone else will say something. There it is again. It must be
Mhm.
acceptable since nobody stopped the job. No.
No. That's one thing we have new hires quite 2 or 3 days out here, and they go through an orientation with the GC, and then we do our own orientation. And in that orientation, one thing that we touch on is stop work authority, because every job you go on, every company says you have stop work authority, but nobody really stands behind it. But I have seen our project managers stand up there and tell these people coming in, when we say that, we mean it.
That's
It's
crazy.
not just us telling you this, because they do that portion of the orientation. I don't even have to do that portion. They do, and they need to do it. It sounds so much better, and it's so much more powerful coming from them than it would be coming from me.
Yeah, that's the direct boss.
But they tell them, when we tell you that you have stop work authority, you have it, and it's your responsibility to use it.
Yeah. You know that.
You have the
Go
you
ahead.
have to use it.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip over a few here because we're running low on our time. But one
Oh
thing
wow.
that's also on here that we need to hit is lack of ownership.
Oh, oh,
I was saying that
accountability.
last one. Yeah. So
Accountability.
here's something for you. It says sometimes workers see safety as the safety department's responsibility instead of the crew's responsibility.
Mhm.
This creates a mindset of that's the safety guy's job. I
Mhm.
just do the work. True safety cultures require shared ownership across the entire crew. That is not my opinion. That is factual information that I pulled. And that is something that almost verbatim that we preach on a daily basis. It is absolutely not my responsibility. It's everybody's responsibility.
Safety is everybody's responsibility, from the guy that hired in today
Yep.
to the guy that's been there for 20 years.
I
It's
agree.
everyone's responsibility.
100%. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you own the company. I don't care if you write the check. I don't care if you are a clerk that handles a lot
Yes.
or a fire watch. Everybody has a ownership in what they do.
Mhm.
And if you don't do that, you can't point the blame and go, well, everybody else is not doing it. Well, what kind of sense does that make? It don't make sense at all.
And it goes back to what we were saying before, you may see something that somebody else doesn't see.
Yeah, that's the big
Everybody's looking at it from different lens.
100%. And how many times have we been taught or told, you know,
Mhm.
how did you allow this to happen?
Yes.
That's
Every time.
ownership. That's ownership.
Yes.
Because if we would have been preaching the right things
Mhm.
and saying something, could that have changed the outcome? Could that influence that guy's decision? I think 100% it could have.
I think it could
It's
have.
it's the whole thing of if you walk up on a job site, you see a guy in a man basket, he's elevated at work, and he's not tied off, but he's wearing his harness. He, you know as well as I do, they know when we're around. I don't care if they like us or they don't like us. They know when you're around. Well, he knows that you saw that. If you just walk away from him, you have just
Mhm.
taken the ownership and told him that you do not care about his life, and that is wrong. And that
Mhm.
is everybody's job on the job site. If you see something, say something.
Exactly.
It ain't
Whether it's our employee or not.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, you remember the stink I caused?
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah.
It
But
doesn't matter whose employee it is. I
I
mean, if
don't care.
there's somebody out there in harm's way, if I correct that behavior or at least say something, I can't force them to do anything if they don't work for us. But if I can say something, at least I can sleep better tonight knowing that, hey, I did what I could.
Yeah. I tried. I tried to help you
But
because a lot of
now when I walk out on site, our guys, if they're in a harness, they're tied off, but they're reaching to make sure they're tied off.
Yeah.
Like, oh crap, did I miss it? But they are tied off.
Yeah, it's easy to do.
Hmm.
It's easy to get focused on that work and not hit that tie off strap. I know,
Yes.
but it's
But they,
also easy to
it's
develop
second
that
nature.
habit,
Yes.
a good habit. Like you said, they're reaching back and they're checking their pelican hook
Hmm.
to make sure that they are tied off.
Yes.
That's a good behavior, you know.
And most of the time I get hollered, hey, safety, I'm tied off. I'm tied off.
88, 88. Good Lord, I'm gonna put that on my hard hat.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? But taking the ownership, saying something is everybody's responsibility. I don't think, like I said, it's the fear of being labeled a problem. Don't worry about any of that because I
No.
promise you, it's rough in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie, but they'll have a lot more respect for you if you're showing that you not only want to be safe, but you're wanting to take care of everybody else.
Yes.
It's a brotherhood, sisterhood mentality out there.
Hmm.
I mean,
It is.
Janet can tell you a story between me and her. Y'all hear this podcast, and it's like, wow, they have a good working relationship. Yeah, we do. But
Hmm.
if you knew the time that we got so mad at each other, we left the office and it looked like a divorce.
The one time in 4 years.
One time. And I mean, it caused so much havoc, y'all. It was so funny. Not it wasn't at the time. Neither one of
No.
us were happy at the time.
No.
Because a lot of times we talked to each other even after work. Hey, are you okay? Did you make it home? Blah blah blah. Things like that.
Hmm.
That did not happen that night.
No.
She come in the next morning, slammed that office door. We're getting this worked out now. Yeah.
I don't think either one of us had slept that night.
No, it was a rough that was a rough week.
Yes.
But I think at that point I kind of hit a little bit of an open stride. Like, okay, if we can get through this, because the problem is we both cared,
Yes.
and that's a great problem to have.
Hmm.
So don't feel like you can't speak up because I did it with a manager. She's always been my manager, so she knows now if I'm going to say something, I'm going to say it. I don't care, and
Yes.
that falls back into the right, wrong, indifference, training your replacement,
Hmm.
making that decision, whatever. Now, that's not to say that your manager or your supervisor's not going to say, "Hey, that's not right. Let's do it this way." That's okay. They're taking the ownership because it's their responsibility.
Hmm.
So staying on that angle and focused is what you need to do. Everybody, I
Yes.
know this was an odd Tuesday for everybody to have this released. But like I said, Janet and I are really committed to doing this for everybody, and we really want to get this information out there and spread and help everybody grow and just develop and help everybody's job sites and individual
Hmm.
growth, not just company growth.
Yes.
So, with that, Janet, you got any follow up, finishing notes or anything?
We do this to keep everybody safe. We want every company to succeed and everybody to get home the same way they came to work every day. That's why we do this because we care.
I agree. She's right, y'all. So make sure when you go out there tomorrow or you listen to this in a couple of days or a couple of weeks, make sure you follow these and listen to what was said today and care about your people. Other than that, I think we're going to do another one this week. So we get our two in for the month. If things continue to pick up, I mean, we've already been requested to do one once a week. We can't do that right now, but there are exciting things that we have talked about. We're not going to release yet that will come to the future. And let me tell y'all something, if it goes the way we want it to, it's going to be massively big. It's going to be great stuff. Um, we're trying to get in the loop of getting interviews, letting you people hear directly from the field with people we deal with.
Hmm.
We're still trying to run some things down. So bear with us. Maybe several other episodes that you hear just me and Janet, and we apologize for that. We look forward to things in the future, and we are really excited to give you this information and spend the time doing it. But outside of that, Janet, I appreciate your time as always. And
Thank
everybody
you.
remember to look out for us on our social media: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, yada, yada, yada. It goes on, which is great because all these platforms allow us on to do our thing. So you can listen to us about anywhere. So go like, subscribe, follow, listen, set the bell, the alarm, whatever you got to do. And we will see y'all again next time. Bye, everybody.